I gotta wait. How long I gotta wait for a press record?
Go.
Welcome to the share, where Miss Dreme always has a story.
I'm Dreme, a black woman with many beautiful interconnecting identities. A few I will name at this moment as we get started on this podcast journey together. A Bostonian, born and raised in the inner city, Dorchester and Roxbury neighborhoods, to a teenage single mother who has my whole heart. An educator, I've been working with youth and children since my teenage years, and formally, I have been teaching almost a decade now. That's wild to think about. An entrepreneur, I am the founder of The Chair, a black and brown centered tech platform dedicated to supporting people on their hair journey, where you can design hairboards, connect to hairstylists, and share hair care tips for a more joyous experience. I have a workable site, my prototype. It took me 2 years to build, and now I'm on this adventure that you're currently on with me. My goal for this podcast is to share stories, black stories, educator stories, entrepreneurship stories, and hair stories. I want you to leave each episode with the opportunity to gain new insight, just a glimpse into my world or the worlds that are featured on my podcasts, a little chuckle during your day or night, possibly a little anger to encourage you to advocate for justice, and hope to continue learning and dreaming. So come in and listen to the beautiful voices in the chair as they share their stories, starting with me.
Where we share stories in the chair.
Hello, beautiful people. This is Kat. Kat, can you please introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Kat. Is that what I'm supposed to say?
It was the best. It was the best. People who introduce themselves, they say what their passions are, what they like, what they don't like. Sometimes say their identities or their work. Do you want to add anything else to your introduction?
It's because, this is such an interesting question. This should be on the podcast. How do I describe myself without describing what I do for work, where I live? And it's also like how you present yourself changes maybe the direction then of the conversation or how might somebody perceive you. So that's why I'm going to go with I'm Kat, and that's it. I live in Chicago. I don't know. I'm Kat, and I'm just here for the vibes.
I love it. I love it. Kat and I met in college. She and I met in our sorority, Tri Delta, and Kat is also my little. And the memory I have when we were going through the big little process is Kat has the biggest smile and the bubbliest personality that I've ever seen. And it's that bubbly that is like cotton candy and sweet corn. It's just fun to be around, and she really just wants to get to know you all the time, and it's the most honest approach to life, and I just feel like I become a better person every time I talk to my little.
Oh, Dream, making me cry. So touching.
So, Kat, you are in the world of nonprofit education. Did you see yourself there? Was this always a goal for you?
No, it wasn't. Yeah, so my role, I am the director of student engagement at a nonprofit called One Goal. We help high school students get into post-secondary pathways, and we work with them in their junior, senior year of high school, and then their first year of that pathway. Or if they are not enrolled, we continue to support them. I think, honestly, what got me into this place, also that I've been at this nonprofit now for the past 7 years. So it's my 5 out of college, which is bizarre to say. Because, it's not what I imagined for myself, but it just felt like when I joined at the time, it was like the natural next step for me because of how much the One Goal program and what they believed in really just aligned with my values. And it also spoke to my college experience and I had the best college experience. Entering into college as a first generation student was really what tied me to this nonprofit, because I joined, I entered into college, and just like all the resources and support that I received as a first gen student, and I was part of this program that allowed students to get onto campus early before everybody else. And so I was there like very early in August. Ultimately, like that little 1 week program set the foundation for how great my college experience was. Without that program, I'm not really sure how my college experience would have been. And so that's why I think the belief of this nonprofit and just the impact that we have on the community and with students is that a teacher can really be a game changer for a student in how they take on their entire career, their path. So just that 1 week of that orientation program did for me in college. What we're doing is we're supporting students in this program, and we're hoping that through this program, they're able to find a pathway that aligns with their values and their identity, and that sets them up for success throughout their life.
So this first week in college, are you talking about First Connection?
Yes.
So I did First Connection as well, being able to feel like you didn't feel stressed because you were on campus a little bit earlier with less people. But how it was pitched to me was First Connection was a combination of people with different identities and differences. And it was just to be able to begin the integration onto college. For you, what were the moments in this first week that set yourself up for success? Did you have certain interactions with people? How'd it go for you?
Yeah, I would say the team building. I think they had us orient with each other in the programs. Who are my friends doing these team building exercises and getting to meet all these different people. We quickly became friends. I think that's the beauty of going through experiences together. In college, is you end up being tied to that so much, and it builds such a strong foundation for your friendship. Now I have been friends with all my college friends all these years. No friendship has been broken, especially the ones that I made in First Connection. So I think just the team building activities were one of the first things. I think because it was only, I want to say 80 of us, I did feel like we had this niche group of people. And then that way too, eyes were on us, leadership or professors. So I felt more confident to approach a professor and ask for help, or go to one of the staff members and say, hey, I really want to get a job on campus. What do I do? Because I knew I had that attention. They were paying attention to us. I felt personally like they were there for me. So I found those experiences too, meeting the professors early so that they knew my name, and I was going to take a class with them that first semester, and then getting the job right away on campus because I was like, I really need a job. Where are the opportunities? Who do I have to go to so I can get a job? I think those three things ultimately set me up for success, so that by the time the normal, just everybody else joined the regular orientation, you could say, I was like, okay, I'm here now. I have a good feel already for what the semester is going to be like. And now it's just me going through it, trying to make the most of it, knowing that I already had my support on my back.
With that amazing first week of school that set yourself up for success for the next 4 years, how do you keep that spirit alive at your job at One Goal? You said you've been there 7 years and you've had multiple roles. So what are you seeing?
Yeah. Specifically what One Goal does is it is building community among students. And again, that's so aligned with my values and how I experience college, for example. And so when you think about the program and your belief in it, that does drive you in your job, in your role, because you're contributing to something big here. Just me understanding my story and then maybe understanding one of our students' stories, that connects very deeply. And I think too, beyond that, I think it's I found this new community with the staff at my nonprofit. They also have those values, maybe identity markers that I share with them. And I think every single staff member at One Goal, I think is really just trying to develop a connection with you, is trying to make sure that ultimately that connection amongst each other leads to students having a very good experience in the program, because they also have leaders who have their back. Me being part of the staff community, you could say, at One Goal, because that is now a new community for me. We're all just so tied together and we all want the best for each other and our students. Also, a lot of them are teachers, and I just naturally love teachers because they're just so wonderful. I just think when I joined One Goal and I found out that there was like 10 new people that joined at the same time as me, so we all went through like an orientation together, and all of them had teacher background. And I was like, no wonder why these people are so wonderful and caring. And I was just a baby. So naturally, these staff members, I think, just took a lot of care for me too. The executive director of our team here in Illinois, she's like my work mom. Like literally, I see her as a mother figure because of how much she's literally watched me grow from 21 to now being 29. It's like really cool to be part of like a community like that.
Where we share stories in the chair.
Look, it's my commercial. We will be right back.
It's more than just a bad hair day. It's a journey. Finding the right hairstyle isn't easy, nor is finding the right stylist or the right products. Looking in every corner of the web gets messy, overwhelming, and exhausting. All the ads, the articles, the products, the videos, it shouldn't be this hard, but it is. And now, it isn't. The Chair. A black and brown centered platform where you can design hairboards, connect to hairstylists, and share hair care tips for a new, joyful path on your hair journey. Avoid the clutter, save yourself hours, months, and even years of research and poor trial and error. Everything you need and only what you need is in one place. Hairboards made by people like you, for you. Find the right products, the right people, the right answers for you, stress-free. Join the Chair community and make every day a great hair day. When you share your pain, you allow others to help you. And when you share your success, you help others get theirs. Lean on the Chair. We got you. No stress, no strife. In the chair, the chair, the chair. All right.
Do you feel like your identity markers also impact the type of work you do? You said you were first generation when you came into Lake Forest, but what other type of identities do you hold that you feel are significant here?
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing. So when I entered college, I feel like I first saw myself as a first-gen student. That was like one of the biggest identity markers that I held, especially within the context of that program, since it was geared towards first-gen, people of color, and international students.
Yep.
I think at the time, too, I was navigating throughout high school, especially, being both white and Puerto Rican. I was always kind of confused about my identity. Being in a high school that wasn't an all-white, predominantly white, like 85% suburb, I just never felt like I wanted to explore my identity as being Puerto Rican. It was just something that naturally happened in the household, but it's not something that I sought to carry out beyond my household. None of my friends were Puerto Rican, nor did they know too much about that culture. And honestly, I didn't care to do that, nor do I feel like I really wanted to, because it made me feel so different. I remember being on the school bus listening to Spanish music and being like, I hope nobody hears my music because I don't want anybody to ask me questions about what I'm listening to. That's kind of how it was. Then, sorry, this is a whole story leading up to your question.
No, please give it to me.
But then joining First Connection, there were just so many people, all my friends that identify as Mexican, Latinas, all of them. They were so proud to represent their culture in so many different ways. And I felt so inspired by it because I was like, wow, I'm in a space now where people are really proud to show a different side of them. They naturally, maybe they grew up showing that side of them. It's just naturally part of their identity. So they carried it outside. their household or in whatever space that they were in. So now I felt like I also could share that side of me in these spaces. And so that's why I think with now working at my company, that translates too, because we are serving students who are first gen, students of color, maybe low income backgrounds, all of it. So I feel like now my identity, it's become one, I've been more confident to explore it, to share it, to be so proud of it. And also I've needed to reflect on, what does it mean to be white presenting and then also have this identity marker as being Puerto Rican, but also I really want to share the Puerto Ricanness, be loud about that. And then sometimes I'm like, does that mean I'm trying then to be less white? I don't know. That's what I think I struggle with. I feel Latina, but also I know so much of where my privilege comes from is of being presented as white.
Did you feel like you started to have this conversation as well as a member of Tri Delta? Because I've talked on this podcast that Tri Delta was predominantly white. There were sprinkles of us of melanated skin. I talk about my experience as a Black woman in a predominantly white sorority, but the thing I keep hammering away at is that I was comfortable, that we were able to have these conversations, that we were able to get to know each other, but understand that my Blackness didn't go away and my womanhood was still very much present. But we all had the same goal to raise money for St. Jude. How was that for you?
Yeah, I think, trying to remember, it's so interesting because my experience in Tri Delta, I feel like, was tied to certain few individuals. I think about some of my closest friends in that sorority who were already friends outside of the sorority first. And then I joined the sorority because they were part of it. And I was like, okay, this feels like the natural right fit. But I agree. I don't feel like I was always comfortable with who I was. I never felt like I had to hide pieces of me, how I did in high school. But I also didn't have a conversation about it. Maybe, for example, what I was doing with the organization Latinos Unidos. Like, I don't think I really brought that into the space, but I feel like I still showed up as myself, just not in the way that I would show up super proud and loud in maybe a Latinos Unidos space or an international student organization space. All this to say, I felt comfortable, but I also feel like, I didn't have too many conversations about.
And so when thinking about where you are today and you come across recent graduate of college who is mixed race and happens to be white presenting, but they want to still feel confident in all parts of themselves, what would be the advice that you would say today to them?
Seek out that community. Join spaces where that community of that identity marker that you're trying to be more confident in or explore, find those spaces and then see where it takes you. Because that's when I feel most fulfilled, is when I'm in spaces where it is that, in that case. Even if it's traveling. If I'm going to Latin America, I'm having a very different experience of when I'm going to Europe, for example. My soul feels fulfilled when I'm in Latin America. When I might travel to Europe, I think just my wanderlust is fulfilled. I like exploring cultures. I like meeting people. That's always going to be a great time. But when I go to Latin America, it's like completely different. Like, it speaks to me. And that can be the case in so many different places, especially right now. I live in an area in Chicago where there are many white people. And my gym, I think I go to a gym class and I'm not sure. I'm trying to remember my gym class yesterday. Did I see a person of color? I'm not really sure. Maybe one. And so now I'm in a space where I can very much tell that it is not, there are a lot of people who don't share the similar identity marker that I share. And it feels different. It doesn't feel, sometimes I have to catch myself. Am I being a chameleon here and trying to present myself in a way that's different than I would if maybe I was in Humboldt Park, Chicago, where all the historically have lived? So like this community, it feels different and it doesn't allow me to explore or be loud and proud about being Puerto Rican. I can do that on my own, but it's not like I can connect with others who are also trying to do that. And I think when you connect with others, that only builds that confidence or allows you to explore yourself, more internal reflection.
I feel like I'm always having a conversation with kids when I'm teaching about their identity to be proud of who they are in every space they're in. I've had classes where I've had many multiracial kids or biracial kids, and we spend a lot of time talking about how two truths can be true at the same time. How if you are part Colombian and white, I had a kid who was white and Honduran, and he was just trying to understand himself. He knew who he was in terms of his identity, but racially, he was always being mislabeled. And so, depending on how he wore his hair, he was confused as a little black boy. And so, he was having a hard time trying to see himself. And I felt like it was my responsibility to be able to talk to him. You are who you want to be, not who people tell you to be. It came with all my kids when I had my Muslim kids who wore the hijab every day. And they said they were getting nervous when they were deciding to go to these predominantly white schools and whether or not they should wear it. And I was like, if it's a part of who you are, then wear it. I'm having a conversation about empowerment and pride instead of cloaking themselves in fear, trying to subdue who they are. And so I'm always trying to think about how I could be a better teacher to highlight my kids who are different. When I was living in South Africa, I was teaching at this high school for a couple weeks. And so I had 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th graders. And again, they didn't give me any previous information of the kids, so I'm just walking in and I'm just surveying kids very quickly, just based on what I know, body language, which kids raise their hand first, where kids are sitting, how kids are looking at me. We would do these activities where kids would basically be able to share their opinions about whatever topics they have. And one class, every kid spoke. And the teacher came up to me after and she said, "Hey, there's kids in here who never speak in my class. And you gave them the opportunity to speak." And I think that was pretty amazing. And I didn't know which kids they were because I'm not a full-time teacher here. And I spent a lot of time thinking about creating the space for kids at all to see themselves as people, to see themselves as worthy is always a goal.
Yeah. So I think it's hard, like in high school, just even your mindset is totally different, then when you grow older, you have all these different perspectives, yada, yada. But when you're in high school, I think it's hard to be, because your only community that you might know, I mean, for some kids it's different, but is home and school. Finding new community spaces outside of that is hard. How do we encourage students to start internally reflecting and exploring themselves and understanding things, so it's not like me, had to wait till college to get that exposure. Thankfully that I joined that pre-orientation program with all these students, because imagine if I did enter with the new student orientation, I'm pretty sure, I can't remember what the statistic is, but I'm sure that it was predominantly white. How would that have been different for me, had I done that? Because then, again, that would be just continuing what I might have just known from high school. Seek out then, at that point, those community spaces where I'm really thankful that at that moment in time when I really needed it, that it was brought to me. Obviously, I signed up to do the pre-integration program, so I was interested. But it's just naturally, I didn't know what came out of that. With our students, too, how do they also get to see those different spaces and be part of them, be able to really reflect on themselves in different ways?
I think that's a question that more people should be asking kids instead of assuming that they're doing the work to do that. Oh, and if you're interested to learn more about my experiences as a Black woman and educator in Guangzhou, China, I wrote my first ebook titled Nowhere and Everywhere, Captured Emotions of a Beautifully Broken Love Story. It is on lulu.com. Take a read and see some beautiful photography of mine. Enjoy the rest of the show. I'm building a platform called The Chair, dedicated to supporting Black and brown people on their hair journey. I'm curious to know, do you feel like you were on a hair journey. Do you remember the first time you fell in love with your hair?
Whew, yes, I do. Yeah, so being Puerto Rican, I do think that my hair, genetically, or I don't know what it is, what makes it, but it is curly. Growing up, I didn't know it was curly. I straightened my hair all the time.
Mm.
And I never understood, why my hair just would not be sleek and straight. What was I doing wrong? I never understood what was happening with my hair. It was so confusing for me. So for the most part of my life, I straightened my hair because I knew that when I would go to like the beach and the ocean, then my hair would get into the curls and I would be like, wow, like I like it. But then I wouldn't know what to do with that, because ultimately I would have to wash my hair, use the products I was using, which was like Pantene. I'm not sure I can't remember, but maybe that line. And it wasn't until, believe it or not, the pandemic when I spent some time with my friend who is mixed, black and white. And she looked at this hair mask that I had in the shower because I went to stay with her in California for a few weeks. We were trying to get some sun, be outside. And she looked at my hair mask and she was like, no, you shouldn't use this hair mask. And I was like, why? It says it's going to make my hair, smooth, silky, whatever it said. She was like, there's all these chemicals in it. There's sulfates in it. You shouldn't be using this. I really think you should try. I can't remember what it was at the time, but she had like some curly girl products. And so now, pandemic, I was hanging out with her, had more time on my hands. I was basically working from home and then just being at the house. And so I started to explore it. What is my best friend Maya talking about? I don't know what she's talking about. She's talking about sulfates. I've never explored any of this before. And so TikTok, too, obviously was becoming more and more popular at that time. And I think I started to naturally look at TikTok being like, okay, like what is the curly girl method? So I started to read about that, started to buy all the products, and then just went on this journey of testing it out and seeing how my hair reacted. And over the past 2 years, probably, 2 years, I felt so confident about my hair now because I wear it like in its natural state as curly. And I'm obsessed. I just love it. It's my natural state. Do I hate wash day? Yes, I do. but I just love that I'm honoring my hair for what it's meant to be. There's so much power in that. It's meant to be this way. And the only time that I do straighten my hair is the winter. Because I do like the look sometimes of having a straightened hair look with my outfit in the wintertime. I don't know what it is. It's just something about wearing like an all black outfit and then having straight hair. I don't know. But for the most part, I love my hair curly. Again, like I think it just speaks to my identity as being Puerto Rican. It just speaks to the women behind me, in my family who have had this hair. And I'm also on like a health journey. So like for me, I do want to apply things to my hair and my body that I feel are also good for it. So that is my hair journey.
I like it. I like it. Currently, are there different products you're trying, or are you still with this curly girl method?
Yeah, I'm trying a little different things. Honestly, every time I go to the salon, I'll go to somebody who knows about curly hair. They'll recommend me products, and then I'll try to see what they're recommending me because my hair is more fine. And so they go for more like lighter solutions that are more water-based, not heavier mixes, maybe like butters and heavier oils. So I do try different things. You should see my shower. I have, and also how much money have I spent on these products? Just because I know my bank account does not approve. But I probably have like, I don't know, 10, 15 products probably sitting in my shower. I kind of just go between them all. Some days I have good hair days, some days I don't. But I think I'm at the point, even right now, as I sit on your podcast, I'm trying to plot my hair. It's falling. Trying to, get a routine that feels good for me and explore different products as I can, but also not break the bank. That's just the hard part.
When you think about hair love, how would you describe it to somebody who feels like they're trying to get on their curly hair journey? What would hair love look like to you or to them?
I think it's just, to me, it's like hair love is like embracing yourself, loving every part of you. I think we're just like so much in a world where social media, TikTok, all the images and visuals we see of people and what the beauty standards are can really affect you, even if it might be subconsciously. But how you are making decisions about yourself throughout the day of like, how am I putting on this outfit? What am I wearing? How am I doing my hair? And so when I think about hair love, the journey I've been on, it's like so bizarre to think that at one point I hated my hair. I wanted to straighten it all the time.
Mm.
And now I'm at the point where I'm like, oh my God, I straightened my hair. Let me make sure I deeply condition it, give it the love that it needs, because I do want it to go back to the state it wants to be in. So yes, that's how I would think about hair love and describe it to somebody. Embracing and loving who you are. If your hair is tied, I don't know, sometimes the DNA works and somebody might just have randomly a certain texture of hair. But for the most part, I think it does really tie back to your lineage, your culture, identity markers, etc.
Well, Kat, thank you so much for sitting in the chair and sharing your stories. I truly, truly appreciate you taking the time out today to talk to me.
It was the best time ever.
To the chair, where Miss Dreme always has a story.
Thank you for listening to an episode of The Chair. I, of course, would love your continued support. Let me know what you think of this episode by doing all the things. Subscribe, comment, and come back next week, every week. Enjoy the rest of your beautiful day. Or if you are like me, enjoy that moonlight and that one star under all your city lights. Love you. Talk to you later.
The chair.
How long I gotta wait for a press record?
Go.
We support her. Shit.
Do your...
Welcome to the chair, where Miss Dreme always has a story. Where we share stories in the chair.